Swadika and welcome back to Ed Brian's site here on GBN Station. You are now with me, Ganganot Wishitpan. We have now officially reached the end of the rains retreat, and today we'll be learning about the Buddhist events that happen after the rains retreats. Let's get started.
The Day of the Pledge. Pledging support to each other on the day of the rains retreat ends began when the Lord Buddha was staying at the Jetavana temple in the city of Savatthi. There was a group of Buddhist monks who spent the rains retreat in different temples around the city. These monks did not want conflicts to arise, which might cause them to be unhappy during the rains retreat. So they decided to practice silence for the entire 3 months, which they had accomplished successfully. At the end of the rains retreat, these monks went to see the Lord Buddha at the Jetavana temple and told him about the practice of silence. The Lord Buddha criticized their practice and allowed the monks to pledge to each other in the following way. Monks, after the rains retreat, you should pledge to each other in regards to what you see, what you hear, and what you question. Therefore, the end of the rains retreat is also called the Day of the Pledge and falls on the 15th day of the 11th waxing moon each year, and the day has 2 different meanings. The end of the rains retreat is the day when the rains retreat ends and the monks need to stay put for 1 more night. The Day of the Pledge is the time when every monk, regardless of his seniority, allows other monks to advise him with loving kindness as is necessary. The Pali words for the pledge are Sangham Phante Pawaremi Tithena Va Sutena Va Parisankaya Va Vatantumang Ayasamanto Anukampang Upathaya Pasanto Patika Risami. It means, Venerable monks, I pledge to you that if you see or hear or question my conduct as being incorrect, I ask that you give me advice so that my conduct can be improved. During the rains retreat, it is possible that something unbecoming may occur as a result of an oversight. It is like when dirt gets into one's eye. One cannot see the dirt and has to ask another person to help. Therefore, the Day of the Pledge is the day which the Lord Buddha allowed the monks to give each other advice. A senior monk can advise a junior monk, and a junior monk can advise a more senior monk, as a senior monk may not be perfect. The pledge is one way to contain any misbehavior of a monk and prevents it from spreading and doing damage to the Buddhist faith. The pledge is considered a form of prevention. In summary, the pledge, which is carried out by the monks, is a way to help them not to be reckless, and it prevents anything bad from happening and spreading. The objectives of the pledge are the following. First, it is a way to clear up any questionable conduct. Second, it is a way to heal any conflicts which may arise as a result of a communal living and enhances mutual understanding. Third, it promotes unity and harmony within the community. Fourth, it allows monks of all ranks and seniority to advise one another. And fifth, it fosters brotherhood among the monks so that they are encouraged to conduct themselves properly. The fruits of the pledge include the following. First, it creates purity in the body, words, and mind among the monks, and it clears up any questionable conduct. Second, each monk will be able to learn about his shortcomings so that he can improve himself when he can bear to listen to other monks' advice, which is like pointing him to the treasure trove. Third, it gives each monk an opportunity to apologize to each other and dispel any anger which may occur later. This fosters love, good wishes, and forgiveness, and allows communal living to be a happy one. Fourth, it unites the Buddhist monks so they can work together as a team for the Buddhist cause. And fifth, it unites the monks and allows them to withstand any external agents that may harm Buddhism. The pledge is carried out for the sake of prosperity, for the benefit of the individual and the community, which can be gained through the advice given to one another with loving kindness. Therefore, on the day of the pledge, the Buddhist communities should take this opportunity to follow this worthwhile practice by allowing those around us to give us advice so that we can better cultivate perfections in the future.
The meaning of Katina offering. Katina is the offering of robes to the Buddhist monks who practice righteousness and have completed the Buddhist Lent. It is a great merit-making occasion for lay devotees, and it earns them tremendous fruit of merit. But before we mention the fruit of merit, let's learn about the meaning of Katina. Katina means an embroidery frame that is used to hold the cloth in place. It can be rectangular or round. Once the cloth is held in place, sewing is then facilitated. Another meaning of Katina is the offering of robes to the Buddhist monks who have completed the Buddhist Lent. Katina offering is the respectful offering of robes to any Buddhist monk in the temple. The occasion of Katina can also be called the season for changing into a new robe. At the beginning of Buddhism, a monk had to acquire his robe by making it out of discarded cloth, such as cloth used to wrap a corpse, or cloth picked up from a trash pile. In those days, cloth was precious and hard to find. When a monk fashioned his robe out of discarded cloth, it signified him as a recluse in search of emancipation. Moreover, a robe made from discarded cloth would not attract the attention of thieves. People in those days minded old and patched materials, and it was not desirable to anyone. But later on, the Lord Buddha permitted wealthy patrons to offer cloth to the monks. It all began when a physician requested the Lord Buddha permission to offer cloth to the monks because it was difficult for the monks to find them. The robe design came from the Lord Buddha. He had the most venerable Ananda fashion it after the rice paddies. The robe was stitched together using many pieces of cloth so that it looks just like the rice paddy in order to mar the robe and render it undesirable. The Lord Buddha legislated the robe to contain at least 5 different pieces of cloth vertically. Each piece was called mandala. Smaller pieces was called atta mandala. The monks used to have to cut the cloth into suitable pieces, stitch them together, and then dye the robe themselves, which was difficult and time-consuming. They were permitted to use such materials as root, trees, leaves, flowers, bark, fruit. After the cloths were sewn together into a robe, it would then be dyed. The color used was red-yellow or dull yellow. Forbidden colors include indigo blue, yellow, red, pale pink, orange, pink, and black. The monks had to consider the robe before using it. They had to reflect upon the purpose and the use of the robe before donning it. Once the ritual was completed, the monks would use the robe and take care of it very well, because the robe was considered the victory flag of the Arahats. Once the monks received the new robe, the old robe would be used for other purposes, such as lining the ceiling. The old ceiling liner would then be used as a bed sheet. The old bed sheet would be used as a floor cover. The old floor cover would be used as a floor mat. The old floor mat would be used as a dust cloth. The old dust cloth would be pounded and mixed with clay to coat the wall of the monk's abode. Therefore, the offered robes are used for many purposes, and the offering of robes earned the donor great merit. The history of Katina offering is as follows. Once, while our Lord Buddha was staying at the Jethavan temple in Savatthi, there were 30 monks from Bhattayarat who were on their way to see the Lord Buddha at the Jethavan temple in Savatthi. They had just reached the town of Saked, not too far from Savatthi, when the Buddhist Lent was upon them, and they had to stay put where they were. The monks regretted the fact that they were only less than 100 kilometers away from the Lord Buddha, but could not go and see him. After the Buddhist Lent, the monk renewed the pledge to support one another. It was still raining quite heavily after the Buddhist Lent, making the ground very muddy. The monks hurried to continue their travel to have an audience with the Lord Buddha. As a result, their worn-out robes became torn, wet, and dirty. It was a difficult trek to Jethavan temple. As soon as they reached the temple, they went immediately to see the Lord Buddha with their wet and dirty robes. The Lord Buddha asked the monks about their living conditions and their health. He wanted to know how they spent their Buddhist Lent, and whether they were harmonious and able to go for alms. The monks answered that they were well enough and were able to live quite comfortably. They told him that they had lived peacefully with one another and received sufficient alms from the people. The Lord Buddha noticed their torn robes and allowed them to accept new ones from lay devotees within a short period of 1 month after the Buddhist Lent. After receiving the new robes, the monks were allowed to travel to a quiet and peaceful place for the purpose of practicing meditation, without having to ask for permission, to travel without the complete set of robes, to dine with other monks at the same table or in a group, to accept additional offering of robes, to keep extra robes from the monks' own use without having to make them available to other monks. This is the story of Katina offering and what the monks can do after the ceremony. You are all invited to join the ceremony of Katina offering at the Dhammagaya Temple on the first Sunday of November.
The end of the rains retreats means the beginning of the Katina offering, the miraculous activity that happens only once a year, and I would like to invite everyone to take part in this miraculous activity at your local temples. And now it's time for us to say goodbye. Have a wonderful day. สวัสดีค่ะ